Like one of the things I always have people talk to me when they talk about investing.
Yep.
As you know, my wife and I have we had property, we've invested in real estate before.
Yep.
But they'll come to me at the standpoint of, they're almost pulling their teeth out, some issue that or pulling their hair out, more accurately, I guess, about some issue they're facing with one of their tenants or a couple of their tenants.
Sure.
And they'll ask me, should I sell? What should I do? Et cetera, et cetera. And so one of the questions I always ask them is, well, how's the property performing, right? And if the property is performing well, by whatever metric you use to define that,
Yep.
then one of the things I often advocate is, okay, if the asset is still good, why don't you hire a property manager to try to take some of that headache away from you?
Yeah.
And so to that point, I guess my question is, in your opinion, when is the best time to hire a property manager? Is it when you're pulling your hair out, or is it a little bit before that, before you're done?
Well, I would say, obviously sooner the better. I'm biased. I want you to hire a property manager ASAP. But it really depends on what you're comfortable with from a workload perspective, because if you're happy going bald with all the stress and you're pulling your hair out, then do that up to that point, right? But if you want to buy an asset, buy an investment property, and then offload it to somebody to take on the day-to-day, do it right away. Because then we can come in right from the same time you're grabbing the property, understand it the exact same way, and not play catch-up, right? Because maybe some things were in the gray zone, up to you hiring a property manager. Now the property manager's got to come in, try to figure out those puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
So the sooner really the better.
Okay. And so to that point, I guess a couple questions probably come up to me. So
Sure.
You're talking about comfort. So the first question that I guess comes to mind is, like, is there, in your opinion, again, you're a biased party here, I'll lead off the question that way, is there a right time to buy an investment property?
That's a tricky question, right? Because it comes down to the buyer, right? Because I'll never push somebody into buying an investment property. It doesn't make sense for me, because But the saying goes, it's not timing the market, it's time in the market, right? So it depends on a number of variables. But if I had to give you an answer just for ease of this question, I'd say the sooner you can buy an investment property is the better.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's like that. The time in versus timing, it kind of reminds me of the Chinese proverb too, right? Which is the best time to plant trees 20 years ago.
100%.
The second best time is now,
Yeah.
right? And so one of the things I talk to people about when they're looking to buy an investment property is, are you comfortable with the risks associated with an investment property? And if they're a little on the fence about it, it's okay, well, what can we do to help mitigate those risks, right? And so that's where, stepping in, having somebody like yourself, they kind of alleviate some of the, pains that people talk about when it comes to owning an investment property. The next question I had, you talked about, ideally, kind of being in there from day one, right? So earlier we talked about, kind of the ways to win with real estate investing, right? You've got your cash flow, you've got mortgage pay down, you've got that passive appreciation that's happening.
Sure.
The one that's talked about a little bit less, but you know lots about, is that active appreciation, right? You talked about, doing a kitchen renovation, right? Kind of forcing some appreciation, forcing up the value of the property. If somebody wants to come in, whether they buy a property vacant or partially vacant, is that something you help them with, those kind of strategic renovations, or what role do you guys have in that?
From a service offerings, we will introduce you to those contractors. We don't have a contracting or a construction team on staff, but we again have service providers who are vetted, who we've seen their quality of work and it's up to our standard. Well, we'll introduce you to those individuals, and we'll see if we can bridge that relationship.
Yeah, and I think, like, when I look at your business, or just good business practice in general, it's all about relationships, right? A lot of people talk about, maybe I've talked to some realtors who are like, oh, well, I don't want to have clients here in Toronto, or who are looking in Toronto because then I can't get the business. And it's like, well, just make the referral, right? And to the same point, like, you don't have a construction business. That's not the area you specialize in. You have the systems to crush it on the property management side. So you just refer off to people 100%. And help them, right?
And we'll manage the entire construction. Like, we'll do that for you.
Yeah.
It's just something that we don't offer in-house.
Yeah.
That's all.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle, buddy, I appreciate you for your time.
Appreciate you, brother.
And, if you're ever looking for property management, feel free to reach out to Kyle. Whether you get the business or not, I'm sure he'll at least give you honest advice to kind of help you along your journey.